Hello my friends, let's start from the front lines review in the Bakhmut area. For that I will use the military map that is published on the military land resource. Those are the tactical maps, and you can see the Russian army units in that area as well as Ukrainian forces. On this map it's hard to see the advancement of the Ukrainian army because it doesn't have the timeline as the deep state map resource, but still from the information I published before it was like that around over here, and it was like that over here. I believe that the main fight is ongoing now near to Berhivka, near to this water storage, and right behind it there is the huge hill. Russia still controls it, and it's very hard to get control over the hill if you're on the lower ground. Plus Russia sent more reinforcements to their flanks, trying to perform some sort of the small counterattacks, causing the losses for Ukrainian army. And that's why for the 3 days we don't see the huge movement of the Ukrainian army, but still that movement exists, and it's just a matter of time. Then we'll take this higher ground and we're gonna move to Berhivka and also to Yahina over here. On the south the situation is similar to the north part, but there's no huge hills, I may say, so it's just a matter of time again that we're gonna proceed to Klishivka, taking control over that territory, and in that case we're gonna encircle the Wagner army, or try to encircle them. We're using their own tactics, let's say, with those clouds, so we're gonna push them from both of the sides, causing them to retreat from the city. As for the supplies of our group in the Bakhmut city, we were able to push Russians away from Ivanovsk. That unblocks this road for supplies, but unfortunately this bridge over here was damaged or even destroyed, and that unfortunately makes the supplyment of our soldiers here more difficult. But still we may use the road from the Chasiv Yar via Kromove, and Kromove is still under control of Ukrainian army. As for the Bakhmut city itself, unfortunately we don't have great news. Those news are bad. Wagners are moving forward, taking the ground. This map is a little bit outdated compared to the deep state map. That's why I'm waiting for the latest update, and hopefully in this video I'm gonna film it. As you can see, Wagners are already in this district, and from the information they're publishing and from some of the resources we know that they are controlling this place over here, and probably already took control over everything in this district. However, it's hard to confirm that information till this hour, but from the videos that Russians publish in their social media, I understood that they are in this place. What Russians say that they still cannot reach this area, the residential one, and also this one on the northwest side. So if that information about the Wagner advancement is correct, I guess Ukrainian army will leave the Bakhmut city in the nearby future. We still control the very important crossroad in this area, so we may use some of the roads to evacuate or remove our guys out there. How it's better to say, I don't know. You may call it retreatment, but I wouldn't say like that in this particular situation, because the main goal for Ukraine nowadays is to got Wagner trapped in the Bakhmut city. Prigozhin himself says that yes, we advance, but it doesn't really matter because we are losing control over the flanks. Those are his words. I remember how around 1.5 months ago I already told that it's time for Ukraine to leave the Bakhmut city. Yes, we had losses, that's why I said that it's better to move out from the urban fighting, and we lost many of the vehicles, many of the soldiers, unfortunately, in the battle for this Bakhmut city, but we exhausted the Wagner forces out there. Yes, Wagner is still, the army is kind of the big one of the biggest private military armies out there, but now they cannot perform the missions that they've done before, taking vast parts of the Ukrainian land. Here they bogged down in Bakhmut, they got losses, and also the conflict between the Wagner army and the Russian regular army intensified on this background. So in general, I think that the decision to stay in Bakhmut as long as possible was right from the Ukrainian side. Also, we were able to prepare for some sort of the counterattack in this area, and now we advance from the flanks. Now let's move to Avdiivka. As you can see, everything is calm out there. There is no counterattack from the Ukrainian side. There is no any attack vectors coming from the Russian side. Why is it happening? Because Russia moved out most of their forces from the positions in Avdiivka and went to complete defense in this region. As you can see, they tried to encircle the city, putting it into some sort of the clouds. But here we have the open land, not many natural obstacles, not many hills. That's why they were completely demolished by the Ukrainian artillery. And now they do not have the resource to advance in this area. However, Russia started their offensive action on the north part of Ukraine, near to Masudivka, on the north from Kupiansk. Their main idea for the winter time was to advance to Kupiansk, taking the city under control. This city was taken by Ukrainian army, retaken or liberated during the main counteroffensive campaign in the Kharkiv region. Unfortunately, from the information we have, Russia took control over this small village Masudivka on the north part. For how long, we don't know. But I don't think that they got it for a very long time. We may check it out on a deep state map. So here is the Kupiansk city, and here on the north part is the Masudivka. It's not very close to Kupiansk, but anyways, let's go to the timeline. It was yesterday. And it is today, so they've took control over that land, and this is kind of the small village out there. Before, the deviation line between the Ukrainian side and the Russian side was this railroad out there, but Russians moved across a little. What about the future Ukrainian counterattack? I guess it may happen at any moment right now, but President Zelensky said that we're gonna postpone it, otherwise we'll have lots of the losses. So we're waiting for some sort of the equipment, but we shouldn't wait for a very long time, because Russia constantly launches the airstrikes on Ukrainian territory, and they may harm the supply lines that we are using right now. Still, their intelligence is working, their surveillance is working, so they know the positions of our armed forces, but they cannot target us really, because we are constantly moving our forces around Ukrainian territory. But we cannot continue like that for a very long time. That is why I expect the counterattack to happen very soon. And it was the massive Russian rocket attack on the capital city of Ukraine, Kiev, last night. So they launched the hypersonic missiles, Kinjal, ballistic missiles, drones, all combined. And Ukraine launched the air defense systems, and it's the first time that people saw that many rockets were flying to intercept the Russian Kinjals and many more. It looked like the Iron Dome operation, but we do not have the Iron Dome. So for sure those lights are coming from the exhaust of the Patriot rockets. The full video you may check out on my Telegram channel. I posted it from the Russian channels, and the video appeared there because some of the Ukrainian people just filmed that stuff and published on their social media, which is not very good, because they may uncover the positions of the Ukrainian air defense systems. And from what I may say, that Ukraine concentrated the air defense systems at one particular place. We can publish it already because, as I say to you, we changed the positions. They're not constantly grounded out there. So for the last night, they were over there. For the next night, they moved to different place. So definitely there are many of the systems. One fires here, one fires there, one fires over here. From the Ukrainian official information, we intercepted all of the Russian Kinjal hypersonic missiles, and there were 6 of them. From the official Russian information, they targeted the Patriot system. They based their conclusion on the information coming from the CCTV camera in Kiev. So there were the Patriot systems firing from this place, but later on you may see that there was the explosion with no rocket flying. And after some time there was the smoke coming from the place. So here you may definitely see the smoke is coming. And we go to the article coming from the CNN resource. I know that some of you do not like that resource, but anyways, they refer to the military sources as well, and they estimate that one of the Patriot systems was damaged. They say that the United States officials tells to CNN that the United States still asserting the extent of the damage, so they partially, I think, confirmed that the system was damaged, unfortunately. The explosion happened just after all of the air defense rockets were fired to the sky, and probably the air defense systems were at the recharge phase to put the new rockets. And as I say to you, Russian defense says that they hit the Patriot system, Ukraine defense say that not. Ukraine currently has 2 of the Patriot systems, but it's not just the truck, it's the radar and many other vehicles around those systems. There could be many of the trucks with the missiles or rockets to intercept the enemy missiles or the airplanes. And as you can see, it can be successfully used against the Russian hypersonic missiles. The idea is to fire the missiles from the different directions, and they altogether may intercept the Russian very fast, as they say, missile. But actually it's just on the paper. Most of the ballistic missiles have the high speed, but it seems that the Russian rocket has just the half of the declared speed on the paper. Otherwise, the Patriot systems would not have been able to shut them down. So even if Russia was able to damage the Patriot system, still they made the successful job cutting the Russian rockets in the sky. I guess that Ukrainian army uses the Patriot systems in cooperation with our Western allies. Also, I'm sure that the United States are using the Patriot systems to monitor their effectiveness and effectiveness of their air defense rockets against the Russian hypersonic missiles, and from what we see, they are quite successful. We have the photos of the Patriot rockets that were fired yesterday. This is the PAC-3 CRI modification that is particularly capable against the ballistic rockets. And here you may see some of the debris that people start to collect in Kiev. It was very loud yesterday, my friends. My parents are still near to Kiev, and they say to me that indeed it was very loud. Awesome news coming from our allies. France will supply the identical cruise missiles with Storm Shadow. The name of it is Scalp EG, and basically those are identical. They are made together with the Great Britain. Emmanuel Macron confirmed that in his interview to TF1. Alright, we have the clarification of the drones that United Kingdom will send to Ukraine. Those will be 200 drones that can cover around 200 kilometers, and those will be the kamikaze drones. Unfortunately, I thought that they would be also the attacking drones, for example, like Bayraktar TB2. There are different attacking drones available in the UK Army, not Bayraktar, but different. But still, kamikaze drone is also awesome, especially with this range of 200 kilometers. Again, air surveillance in Ukraine, mostly southern regions. Russia launched their strategic bombers, and this time close to Crimea, so they will fire the caliber missiles as usual. Now we have air surveillance mostly every day. So this is from the yesterday's night, 6 caliber rockets, the cruise missiles calibers. What is this? These are probably Iskanders, the Shahed drones, and the standard Russian drones. All of that were shut down. The problem with the Russian Kinjal rocket that it should maneuver, but it flies exactly as the standard ballistic rocket. The airfoils behind the rocket over here as well should deviate that trajectory of it, so it would be hard to intercept by the Patriot system or whatever. But what our military command says that there is no big difference with the standard ballistic trajectory. Moreover, the United States intelligence confirms that China has better prototypes of the hypersonic missiles compared to Russia. More awesome news for Ukraine. United Kingdom, Belgium, Netherlands and many other countries agreed to train the Ukrainian pilots to fly mostly F-16s. The next step after the training would be to get those airplanes to Ukrainian Air Force. I believe it will be this year. The training usually takes few months, and there were some pilots who went to the United States and they've done the training already. Yes, just few of them, and they were used to test the ability of the Ukrainian pilots to be trained on the Western-made jets. Because still there's the big difference in philosophy of MiG, Soviet-made airplanes, and the Western jets. But our pilots are quite talented, so I'm sure that they will master that bird. And Russia is getting boiled, as you can see. At the beginning of this war, no one talked about the tanks or even the airplanes. No, everyone was afraid from the Western side. But now everyone sees that Russia is a weak country. There was absolutely no military reaction from the Russian side on the supplies of any kind of the weaponry. Even though Putin and the Russian management manipulated that they would use the nukes against the Western countries. But my friends, they will never use it. Also about the Russian rocket program, including Kinzhal, you don't know probably, but the main designer of the rocket got his family abroad in the NATO countries. It's the good lever actually for the NATO countries to influence and to get some information from the Russian rocket program. The British intelligence says that Wagner group forces continue to make gradual progress clearing Ukrainian positions in the town itself, but we have the progress on the south of the town and also on the north. The United States officials say that they cannot confirm that some of the Patriot systems were damaged in Ukraine. It doesn't mean that they do not have the information. I'm 100% sure that they do have the information about the case, and I'm 50% sure that the Patriot system unfortunately was damaged by one of the missiles or the debris of the missiles. White House officials say that if the system was damaged, it should be repaired on the territory of the United States, and in that case we would help with it. According to the Institute of the War Researchers, Russia is ready to declare Prigozhin as the Russian traitor. Russia is going to launch the special disinformation operation against Prigozhin. There was the interview today of our intelligence chief Budanov. He said that 80% of what Prigozhin says is actually truth. Budanov confirms that the regular Russian army is way weaker compared to our estimates. But Prigozhin's army, Wagner, is much stronger, so they fight even better than we expected. And he says that the Russian military command is very jealous about it, that they cannot achieve their goals, but Wagner, the private army, achieved them not easily, but they did. That's why they also started to cut supplies for Wagner and also run from their positions. I mean, regular Russian army blackmails Prigozhin and does everything for them to lose. Budanov says that this conflict really does exist and it can continue for a very long time. There should be only one who will eat the other conflict side, and he thinks personally that Prigozhin finally will win, and Shoigu and Gerasimov will lose it. For now, we may see Prigozhin as the clown. He's a very popular Russian blogger nowadays with a special face, I would say. But according to the latest information, behind him there is the huge resource and the richest man in Russia, after Putin obviously, Sechin. But still, Prigozhin risks a lot with his rhetorics, and for him personally it's better to stay on the front lines nowadays. Plus, Budanov said that Kadyrov is using drugs. And I think that he is right. Just look at this video. Ahmad Power. Right, it's written on the tank, and this guy performs the special gesture with his hand. Alright, we have the military map update, and from what I can see, we were able to liberate this part of the land. It means that we have the offensive vector from this position all across the road, I think, to this place. It's the good one. So as Prigozhin said, we're gonna cut them from the north part as well. Maybe not from Soledar, because it's quite complicated, the urban fights, etc. But taking this road to go behind the Bakhmut city, I would say it's quite profitable. But from what I see, there is no huge advancement of Ukrainian army on those positions. But still, for 1 week, this advancement is quite good. Judging that for Russian army, it took weeks to take control over that area. My friends, I'm gonna keep you updated on situation in Ukraine, and now please press the like to this video. Also, you may go to the video description where you may find the links to support my job. You may also support me on Patreon or on the sponsorship right on this YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your awesome help and support. I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are, and